Hello folks, you're all very welcome back to Talk from the Terrace on Celtic Fanzine TV. I'm Andrew Milne and Celtic Fanzine TV is brought to you by More Than 90 Minutes Celtic Fanzine. The fanzine first went on sale at Celtic Park 21 long years ago. And thank you so much for your continued support. The print edition of the fanzine, issue 123, is now available to pre-order. And once again, the digital edition is also available there, and you can get that by visiting CelticFanzine.com. And if you're new to the channel, please hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode. And if you're a returning visitor, thank you very much for tuning in. This episode of Talk from the Terrace is sponsored by our good friends in the Arbels Bar, Drogheda. And we thank Ronan for his support. The Arbels show all Celtic games home and away, and there's no dodgy streams either. It's all good quality on big screens. So, Ronan, thank you very much. Yeah, on this episode of the show, we'll be chatting about Celtic's 6-1 win over Hibs, and we'll also look ahead to Celtic's visit to Motherwell for tomorrow's or today's, depending on when you're watching, quarter-final of the League Cup. Once again, Matt McGlone, editor of The Alternative View, joins me to review and preview the games. Hi, Matt. Matt McGlone. Yeah, you're very welcome back to Talk from the Terrace, our regular little chat. A great win on Saturday, plenty of goals, and James Forrest joining the famous Celtic Centenary goal scoring club.
Well, James Forrest, who'd have thought a hat-trick? Fantastic, absolutely brilliant. And you can see what it meant to him when he scored it. And to score a hat-trick and not even play the whole game, you get taken off. Fans just took him off at a good time to, he hasn't played a lot of games, so probably for his fitness as well. And to get the applause from the fans, which he was richly deserved. Came back on at the end of the game, as you saw during the lap of honour. And, the fans showed their appreciation. You can see the players joined in there as well. They were really happy for James. But, 100 goals for Celtic, wow. I'm sure that you and I have had dreams of scoring for Celtic and then, of course, waking up the next day and it's not true. It's a real bummer. So to have done that in real life for 100 times is absolutely brilliant. Well done, James.
Yeah, and you know what, Matt, on the day, he offered us something a little different going down the wing. He was cutting inside, and the Hibs offence was all up. Once he cut in, rather than going down the line, he was cutting in. He was almost in the box as soon as he cut in, and he's given the Hibs, they had awful problems with him.
Yeah, I think when Ange picks a player, he picks them and coaches them to play a specific role. And I think that's the success at Celtic. He has made players that perhaps hadn't done so well do better under him. And he's told James exactly where to play and which is most advantageous for the team. So, again, with wingers, with the winger out, Jota, Abada had been injured, so he didn't look really fit. And there's competition for places in every position now. And I think that keeps all players who are playing on their toes. Psychologically, if you know that if you don't put in a good show regularly, then there's somebody else ready to come in. And, as you say, James is cutting in just in that area, which is very difficult for defenders to defend against. Of course, the way Celtic played, it's very difficult for any team to defend against. He was an interesting thing. I was thinking, after the St Mirren game at New St Mirren Park, a lot of people were saying, Celtic's B team, so we have an A team and we have a B team. Celtic B team's just not up to it. I was thinking, well, these guys have been up to it this season. A couple of weeks prior up at Ross County, they had a great victory in the League Cup. I think they can't be bad players overnight. And then there was a lot of changes made. If you wanted to call Saturday a B team, against the team we could have put out, it was completely different. So that tells me it's not the players that are wrong or the formations were wrong. Although St Mirren, there was quite a lot wrong, to be honest with you. But it tells me that the attitude was different. The attitude just wasn't right at St Mirren. From start to finish, just wasn't right. But with those same players who are not duds, they played on Saturday and the attitude was completely different. So we got the right result. So I think it's all to do with not so much the selection, but perhaps the attitude of how the game starts and how we adapt to it.
Yeah, well, one player who's come off the bench plenty of times this season is certainly not a B player, and that's Giamakis.
Yeah, I like the big guy. And, I was thinking there when after he scored the goal at St Johnstone, I felt a bit sorry for him that he didn't start against Leipzig. And I'm thinking, if I was him, how long am I going to be sitting here, one, just to come on and maybe win the game or change the game around? I want to be starting. If you're a football player, you want to be starting all the time. So it was good to see him starting Saturday. And, it's always a hard act for the manager to juggle and balance and keep players' heads in the game. That you have to give them game time to keep them interested. And, if I was a player, scoring the winning goal in the final moments at St Johnstone, I would be expecting to start the following week. He didn't. He kept his head up. He got the start on Saturday. He's a real handful for defenders. Big, muscular player. And, I would love to see both of them, Kyogo and Giamakis, playing a whole game. See how it works out.
Yeah, as fans, we want to see the all-action, the all-attack formation. We got to see it for a small period, Matt, on Saturday before Giamakis went off. He took a little knock. It is exciting, but there was also good performances all around the pitch as well, especially from some of the lads who we haven't seen so much of. And then Maida comes on at half-time and gets the goal that we've all wanted for him, because he's had mixed form in the last couple of games, and it was great to see him finally getting that goal, because, one thing you can never say about Maida is he doesn't work his ass off.
That's a good phrase, eh? He does. He puts a great deal of energy into the game. And I think, if there's any criticism, when fans talk about players, because fans do talk about how games go and what players' strengths and weaknesses are, and it's not meant to be like against the player, but it is criticism because of certain things. Every player gets criticised, but the guy has got skill. He's a good player. Just needs a wee bit finesse. He needs a wee bit more composure, a wee bit of thought, to the end product. I think that's what people might be looking for, but that's up to Ange to coach that into him. He never seems to smile. I don't know if he's just one of these players. When he celebrates, he seems very serious. And I hope that's probably just the way the guy is. Nothing wrong with that. But I hope it's not a sign of that he's not happy, because I'd love to see him really make it at Celtic. He's in and about the first team. And there's certainly a place for Maida if he just maybe adds a wee bit more composure and a wee bit poise to the end product.
I'm at 6-1, going on 7-1. We were craving for the 7-1 for the week that was in it, to get the cans of 7 up back out to celebrate. But, we win 6-1, but one of the big talking points of the game is McLean's performance in the middle of the pitch as referee. This is, and it wasn't just one or two people banging on about it. It was from during the game, after the game, in the pub, and then speaking to people, and even yesterday there was stuff on social media about him.
Yeah, is that not an easy game to referee? A team in rampant form, doing everything right. We don't have any physical, dirty players in our team. I remember the booking on Saturday for Matt Riley. And I'm thinking, he wasn't. It was one of these accidental challenges. Put his foot out. There was no malice in it. There's no intent, and he books him for a nothing. Pardon me. This is at the end of the game when Bernabeu, if anybody was fouled, it was Bernabeu who was fouled. He's getting through a sandwich of two players, wins the ball. Now, if you notice, McLean, let's play go on. So it's advantage to us. Everybody's thinking, well, there's a foul on Bernabeu there. But he lets the play go on. So the ball goes over. Pardon me. And I think it was Kyogo who took the shot, wasn't it? And then he blows up then. And it was almost like does he not want Celtic to hit number 7? I've got to say, that's in my mind. No, does he not want Celtic to hit number 7 here because it's after, a couple of days after the Liverpool demolition? Another 7 would have been another reminder to Rangers of 7-1 once again. So I just don't understand that decision at all. Bernabé gets through 2 players. He's looking to get the ball, and he's on the ball. And the referee blows up for a foul against him, when if anything it would be our foul. But he lets play go on until the Celtic player takes the shot. I just don't understand it. I mean, if I'm a manager, I think Celtic are a wee bit slow here. I don't want Celtic to become Statement FC. I don't mean that. But I think we're a wee bit slow in speaking up and saying, can you explain this? Now, it might well be that Ange chapped the referee's door and said, excuse me a second, maybe I'm interpreting different laws of the game here. But why did you blow for a foul there when if there was any foul at all, it was against our player? You'd have to ask that question and get some kind of answer, some kind of explanation, because none of that made sense. But his performance throughout the game was almost to stop it at will. Could he just not handle Celtic playing such free-flowing, great football? That's an easy game to referee.
Yeah, Matt, and we have the... no doubt we will speak during the season about referees, but we'll also be speaking about VAR decisions and who are making them, because there's a full podcast and that coming down the road, I'd imagine. Matt, also on Saturday, an emotional return for Frank McGarvey and his family to Celtic Park as Frank continues his battle with cancer. I know Frank's a good friend of yours, and as I said before, I've interviewed him a few times, and he's a wonderful character, But it was an emotional day for them.
Yeah, and very brave of Frank to do that, because he's obviously got lots of things in his mind, and dealing and processing with his situation. To get onto the park and to be able to hold a mic is a very brave thing to do. To speak and just to hold it together, I thought was wonderful. Then seeing me Jennifer run onto the park to support her dad, it was there was a real touching moment. And then the video that Celtic put out yesterday, where Frank talking inside Celtic Park, it shows the strength of mind that Frank's got, and I think he's very difficult time for him, and he's got a very strong family around about him. And I just hope he just keeps everything going the best he can.
Yeah, we all send Frank and his family and close friends our best wishes as he continues.
Absolutely,
a very, very tough fight. Matt, I can see. There's emotion there in you. But I'll push on now to what we have tomorrow or today, depending on when you're listening. We've a League Cup quarter final against Motherwell away from home. An unusual kick-off time for 6:15. A lot of people giving out the kick-off time, but it actually suits me because I just might be able to get the last flight home, so it saves me a hotel bed for the night and a barbell that could run up if we win. But Motherwell came to Celtic Park. They put up they gave us a tough afternoon. We did beat them, but the last time I went to Motherwell, we were absolutely brilliant. The last day I was there, the game was over by half time. So with Celtic hitting the form they hit on Saturday, we should be going there with plenty of confidence and reaching the semi-final.
Well, just on your first point there, you making it back home, I think you must have a helicopter landing pad in your back garden, or you've got a runway strip, because the amount of times you're over here and getting back, and I know you've got various other activities and jobs you do across there, it's fantastic commitment from you. So you can let me into the secret later on when we go off there. Have you really got a helicopter landing pad in your back garden? Anyway, down to Celtic.
You wouldn't fit. I don't even have a back garden. I have a patio.
Oh my God.
So if it was a helicopter, it's a very small one. No,
it must be up on the roof then. No, Celtic, the last time we were there, absolutely steamrolled them. And as I was saying to you before, you were asking me last week about the Hibs game, and I said I didn't see a problem there, and it turned out that way. And I see a rinse and repeat performance for Celtic tomorrow night. I think didn't watch the Rangers and Motherwell game, but from what I read on Twitter, Motherwell were pretty poor and Rangers were pretty average. So again, like for like players, we're better in every position. We're confident. We'll be going there wanting to protect our position in that tournament, in that particular tournament, because we're League Cup holders. And I don't see a problem for Celtic. Ange might make a few more changes. You never know. It's Hearts away at the weekend, isn't it? And he might have one eye in that. But then again, that shouldn't pose a lot of problems either, that game.
Yeah, it's posing a lot of problems for people trying to get tickets.
Are you coming over for that as well?
Well, at the moment, I just got an email to say I didn't get a ticket, so we'll see. The texts have gone out. It's getting harder and harder to get away tickets now.
As I...
Especially with clubs cutting their allocations and that, I think everyone on the Randy will be able to get a ticket for Livingston, but not for Hearts,
It's very difficult. Once again, Motherwell are one of these clubs who could easily, make alternative arrangements to give Celtic the other end. We get the right hand side stand of the. If you're sitting in the main stand, the stand to the right hand side. And the end opposite is sparse. The side that runs down the side of the pitch is never full. They could easily give us the other end. Segregation's not a problem. Again, I don't understand it when clubs are pleading poverty and there is a lack of money everywhere in life right now, not just football. Why, when people are standing there with £30 in their hand, do you not want the money? It makes me think the next time you moan that you've got no money, I feel I can't give you any sympathy, because you had people willing to give you money to get into the ground and you knocked them back. Small clubs have to cut their cloth accordingly. Look at when we go to Livingston. You get three ends of the ground. Livingston are alive and, don't seem to have any money problems. It makes sense. It makes for a great atmosphere as well.
Yeah.
Obviously the home fans, it's their ground. But a club Motherwell size, two stands running down the side of the pitch at either side, is that not enough for you? I just don't understand it. In this day and age, when people are wanting to give you money, you don't want to take it off them. Yeah,
and we can't wait, till we get a ticket in our hand from when we're travelling from over here. Like Livingston, okay, you kind of have a fair idea. When we played Ross County in the League Cup, they gave us an extra stand as well, so there was a few more tickets available for that. But for those who travel, I suppose from down south from Ireland and from further afield overseas for games, we're relying on our away records for getting tickets, because again, you're trying to get the cheapest deal you can on a flight. You're trying to get the cheapest deal in a hotel. You're trying to get into a hotel that has good value. So the cheaper you can do it, Matt, the more you can do it. That's the way we look at it. So the amount of money I lose on flights when I don't get a ticket, it's just a pain in the arse. But you can't wait till the day before, because the flights are hundreds of pounds. So it's a risk you have to take.
Yeah, a trip to Scotland, if you're flying in, it's got to be done a couple of weeks in advance, and you don't know if you're going to have a ticket a couple of weeks in advance. Ask Scratch about for tickets like everybody else. Various people I know, help me out and buy a ticket from them for the game. That's how I'm there tomorrow night. And again, it's potluck as to who can help you out at the time. Because as you know, that's what we all do. If we happen to come across tickets, we help each other out. And it's a scramble. Every single away game's a scramble. And there's loads of away games that I don't make because I simply can't get a ticket. Nobody does you favours apart from your friends.
Oh, 100%, Matt. And like people say to me, "Oh, it's the same people getting the away tickets." And I go, "Well, like they have an away record. Like you can't just say to someone that's gone for 30 years, you can't go anymore because there's a new fan has just started following the club and he wants to go to away games." So there's no easy solution for this. The only solution is if you don't get a ticket, beg, borrow, or steal.
And as I said, part of that problem is that clubs are not sort of trying to fill their stadiums, and I don't understand why. I'll never understand when somebody's standing there with pound notes to let you into the ground, you don't do it. I mean, at St Mirren, they came up with a ridiculous idea to stop Celtic fans getting in. They asked their season ticket holders to pay £30 or £28 for a ticket, so that St Mirren wouldn't lose any money because they weren't going to sell those other tickets to Celtic fans. I know of people who are St Mirren season ticket holders who paid the club £30 that they asked. I don't know if you knew about that.
I did, yeah.
They asked their fans to pay for a seat that would remain empty so that a Celtic fan wouldn't get it. But it was more to do with the fact that St Mirren wouldn't lose out. So they said, rather than shift you around the stadium, you stay in your same seat. If you wouldn't mind paying another 28, 30 quid, then, it means that we won't lose out. So pay for that empty seat, which in the end up denies a Celtic fan a ticket.
And I think it backfired on them as well. A lot of fans didn't pay the extra money.
No, because how can you? I mean, there's a great song that people should listen to. It's by, it's not Ry Cooder. It's How Can a Poor Man Stand Such Times and Live? And that's exactly the times we're living in. So how can you realistically ask somebody, we can't sell that to a Celtic fan, so could you help the club out and give us 30 quid for that so it sits empty? It's the most ludicrous, ridiculous idea I've ever heard in my life. Whoever came up with that, I'm glad it backfired on them.
Some marketing degree he done.
Sorry?
He must have done some marketing degree to come up with that idea. Matt, I didn't get a chance the last week to say to you, forgot all about it. You've a new issue with the Alternative View out. Come on, give us a plug. What's in it? I haven't seen it myself yet.
The new issue of the Alternative View. Once you know yourself editing a magazine and putting it together, the once it's done, it goes right out of your head because you've been immersed in it for so long to get it done. We've got the second part of the Chris Sutton interview in there. We have Sean, one of our writers. The second part of the Chris Sutton interview is brilliant. He talks about, the effects and the relationships he had with Neil Lennon and the difficulty that Chris had with that because, as a commentator or a pundit, he's worked and knows Neil well, and you have to say the truth, you have to say what's happening. And that's, I had a very good relationship with Neil as well, and I don't actually know if I've got a relationship with him anymore, to be honest with you. Well, part of the fact I lives in Cyprus, but we were pretty pally. But again, in the magazine and on podcasts and things, you have to tell the truth. You have to say it like it is. You can't say that happened when it didn't happen. You have to be honest and say, this is the current situation at Celtic. And, like for Neil, some of that wasn't pleasant to hear. But that's the realistic situation. And you have to be true to yourself and say, this is what happened, this is how it is. I'm sorry if this is upsetting our relationship here. If it's made things distant. We haven't had words or anything, but distance has probably been the thing. So Chris talks about that. Sean talks quite a lot about the relationship Celtic fans have with Scotland. Pardon me, watching the Scotland and Ireland game recently at Hampden Park. He said a fairly large section of Celtic fans, a fairly large section of the Scotland fans were booing the Irish national anthem, and they were also booing James McGlone when he was on the ball. And he's asking, how do you settle that? How do you say, as a Scotland fan and a Celtic fan, do you feel about that? Now, he's not in any way saying it was Celtic fans were booing. Obviously, it wasn't. But the Scottish support were made up of a huge amount of fans, and from different clubs. And obviously, I would imagine, would be pretty certain that people who were booing the Irish national anthem and booing James McGlone were not Celtic fans, they were fans from other clubs.
Yeah, man. I was over for that game. I was at that game. We had a wild weekend. There was a busload of us for a couple of days. I think we'd 44 over, and we'd 4 in the Scotland end, including myself and my mate. We took 2 tickets in with the Scotland fans, and we'd 40 in with the Ireland fans. The atmosphere in there, my son was in there, and the atmosphere was fantastic. They did say, however, to me that there was booing beside them of the national anthem. They did say James McGlone was booed. Now, I had a positive trip, as I always do, to Glasgow. I met friends who follow Scotland that are Celtic fans, and I met friends who follow Ireland who are Celtic fans who live in Glasgow. So there was good banter and good crack. Now, the only sour taste in my mouth was a guy sitting behind me. Obviously, I'm surrounded by Scottish fans, and he made a racist comment about Nigerian heritage of some of our players. Now we have a couple of black players playing in the team whose parents or grandparents are Nigerian. They're as Irish as I am, and he, one comment then when I did challenge him, he said to me, "Oh, what part of Ireland are they from?" And I said, "Well, they're from Dublin." I said, "Have you got a problem with that?" And then he backed down. He backed down when I challenged him again. Then and said, "Oh, I didn't mean anything by it and that." But these are flippant comments that people around him kind of chuckled. Now I would imagine that all the Scotland players over the years were not born in Scotland, and I would imagine ones who were born in Scotland have parents and grandparents and great grandparents from Ireland and from elsewhere. So maybe some fans need to be educated.
Well, that particular guy you're talking about, is that not so depressing? I mean, you're there to watch a game and then you meet this brain-dead mind who comes up with what he said to you. I mean, apart from the fact that it's highly hypocritical, because other teams, as you said, you mentioned Scotland there. Scotland throughout the years have had players who were born out with Scotland, who have represented Scotland through parentage or grandparentage. And when you hear what that person said to you, I just find that whole thing depressing. I'd want to move seat before my head went into a different area there. I couldn't even debate with a brain dead like that, to be honest with you. It's racist, without a doubt. Does it matter what colour you are these days in life? Of course it doesn't. Does it matter what colour you are if you play for a football team, or you sing a song in a band that you like, or music that you listen to? I mean, it's very depressing. Is this all? I'd love to think this was all dying out. Hopefully, from maybe 100 people doing it 10 years ago, there's 3 or 4 people doing it now, and those 3 or 4 people will be marginalised as life goes on. But again, it only takes the one, doesn't it? It takes the one, and unfortunately, you were sitting next to him.
Yeah, man, I look forward to reading that interview in the fanzine. I haven't picked a copy up yet. I'll try and pick one up tomorrow when I'm in Glasgow. The interview, folks, is available in all news agents throughout Glasgow. It's a great read. So get out and support those old timers still putting out print editions of fanzines. There's only, as I said before in the programme, to have 4 fanzines still going in print for Celtic is amazing, because they are falling by the wayside throughout the football world. They're not as frequent, or not there as much as they were. So,
well, yeah, the way I look at the fanzine market now is, it's changed quite dramatically over the years. A lot of people, in the past, you had the Club View, and then you had a fans magazine, which was, so you had 2 points of view. You'd all of a sudden in the mid-80s, Not the View were the first to come out with it in the mid-80s, so they're Not the View. And so it's the Celtic View, Not the View. So you had the club magazine and Voice put out in the Celtic View, and then you had Not the View. And it was a read for other fans to go and say, well, we're not just getting that view. Here's somebody speaking, or various people speaking within a fanzine, giving a different view. But nowadays, you've got instant podcasts. You've got things like we're talking on at the very minute. You've got instant comment daily. Twitter is as instant as you can get. The time it takes you to pour a glass of water into a cup, you've got comment on Twitter. So therefore, you say, well, where's the fanzine market? Where does this fit in? Well, I've thought long and hard about where it fits in, because you know yourself what it takes to put together this, all the effort, just to keep a magazine going. And where I see it fitting in is you have solid writers, people of a Celtic soul and a Celtic heart, who write about things that matter, who think about the long-term article they're writing. It's not just an instant Twitter thing. This is an article that you could sit and read and pass on to somebody, and somebody could read it again, and you can collect them, and you can read, and you can look back in years to come and see what was being said at the time. Whereas a lot of stuff on the internet just disappears. Programs like this on YouTube won't disappear. But, you know, the instant comments, say, on Twitter and social media. So a fanzine has got a place, but it's a niche now. It's a real niche in the market. And people that buy my magazine, I'm sure your magazine, and buy Not the View, etc., and anything else that's in the market will say it's a good read, or they wouldn't buy it if it wasn't a good read. You know, the way I look at our magazine is there's 6 writers, including myself, and we don't direct anybody. Nobody gets said, you write about this. Never once in the entire history of me producing magazines have I ever said to somebody, you know, you have to talk about this. People have their own free will and they just write it. And the way I've always gambled on that in a magazine is that if you're dealing with 6 different minds, you're going to have 6 different articles. Therefore, you don't have to say to somebody, could you write about that, or could you talk about that, or could you mention this? That never happens, never once. What happens is 6 different minds writing 6 different articles, and when you put it all together, you have a complete mix.
Yeah, which is likewise for us, Matt, and I'm sure for Not the View. Matt, thank you so much for your time. I'll talk to you again soon, and we'll chew the fat again.
You just moved over 6 inches there.
No, I just moved the computer.
Actually, you were sending a message to get your landing strip ready out the back. And if you don't have a back garden, it's up your roof.
It is. Go on, good luck. Once again, thank you so much, folks, for watching. Thanks to Matt McGlone for joining me again for a wee chat. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, please do so, and you'll never miss an episode. And once again, thanks to the Admiral's Bar, Shop Street in Drogheda, where you can watch all Celtic's home and away games live on the big screens. Thank you so much to Roland and the crew for sponsoring this episode of the podcast, and indeed for coming on board and sponsoring the fanzine this season. Next live show, we've been banging on about for the last week or so, is in November. We're in Dublin and Waterford. John Hartson is our special guest in Dublin, and on Friday the 11th of November we're in Pat O'Brien's bar in Dublin. Tickets are available from Ticketstop or by calling into the bar, and I think that one's selling quite well. And on Saturday the 12th, if you're in the Waterford, Kilkenny, Wexford area, we'll be on the border of all those counties in the Rue Glen Hotel as guests of the Portlag Emerald CSC. Tickets for that, it's a dinner, gig, Q&A with John, and we'll also be joined on the night by Lisbon Lion legend that is John Fallon. So looking forward to that one as well, folks. And if you're looking for tickets for that, you can get them from any of Pat or any of the committee members through social media. You'll find them on Instagram and Facebook. But if you can't, give us a DM here or contact us through the website, and we'll put you in contact with them for the dinner tickets. Now, I'm missing a piece of paper. Here we go. Hold on. What else have I to talk about? Right. As I said at the start of the show, more than 90 minutes, print edition, issue 123 is available to pre-order. And if you want to read the easy and digital version before that, that'll be out on the weekend. And you can download it from our shop at CelticFanzine.com/shop/. And you'll also find details of subscriptions, back issues, T-shirts, badges and scarves. At CelticFanzine.com, you'll also find all our daily news and articles. That's daily news and articles. All our audio Celtic Soul podcasts. All our video content from Celtic Fanzine TV. We deliver free content to all Celtic fans across all our platforms, written, audio, and of course on video. And if you'd like to support us, you can sponsor, subscribe, become a member, donate for the price of a pint. And thank you very much for all your support, not just now, not just through COVID, but for the past 21 years. We're back on the road Wednesday, which is tomorrow or today, depending on when you're watching, as we travel to Motherwell following the Celtic fans' journey. And you can follow our journey across social media and also on the website CelticFanzine.com. That's it for this show. Thanks for watching. Hail, hail, folks.